will join our video conference. So it will be incredible. So thank you for all the attendees. In collaboration with Erlangga Global Engagement, DECOTA is the first ever guest lecture event in the Faculty of Advanced Technology and Multidiscipline, Universitas Erlangga, which supposed mostly attended by our students from robotics and artificial intelligence engineering, also electrical engineering, and last but not least, from industrial engineering under basic programming course subject. But not to forget, this event is also open for public, so we will have various attendees this afternoon, and it's going to be fun. Okay, it's such an honor for having Mr. Goh Kam Meng from Faculty of Engineering and Technology from Tunku Abdul Rahman University, Malaysia, as our the very first guest lecturer here. And I heard that Mr. Goh Kam Meng will deliver an interesting topic about human emotions versus artificial intelligence, which is related with the basic programming course. And let me just give a brief greeting to him. Hello, Mr. Goh Kam Meng.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming here. It's such a pleasure to have you here in this very moment. Okay, this topic might be quite new for some of us. Hence, for about 1 hour later, let's dive right into it together so that by the end of this lecture, we could fit and satisfy our curiosity about the topic with new and useful insights. So on behalf of the team teaching of basic programming course, I cannot express our gratitude enough to Mr. Goh Kam Meng and to all the attendees for joining this guest lecture event. Please do enjoy the given lecture, and without any further ado, I'll end my remarks here. And now I will pass the speech over to the moderator again. Ms. Ika, please. Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye.
For opening speech. And now it's a time for me to invite our speaker, Dr. Goh Kam Meng. Before he starts his presentation, allow me to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Goh Kam Meng. Dr. Goh Kam Meng received a bachelor degree in 2010 and then a PhD degree in 2015 from University Technology Malaysia or UTM. And he is currently a senior lecturer at Tunku Abdul Rahman University College in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And he is promoted to IEEE senior member in 2020. And he is presently active in IEEE Computational Intelligence Society as a committee member. And his current research interest AI and information analysis. Okay, Dr. Goh Kam Meng, I think it's time for you to manage by your own.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Handrawati and Ms. Ika for introducing me. Okay, before we start, maybe let me share my screen first. Okay, are you able to share, to see my screen? Anyone?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so thank you for the response. So, okay, before I start my presentation, I would like to make a disclaimer first. So, whatever pictures, contents, or data shown in this presentation are for the educational purpose only, which is non-commercialized purpose. So, any similarity is merely coincidence. Okay, so back to our topic. So, thank you for the invitation. It's my honor to be your very first lecture in your DECOTA program. Thank you for the invitation again. So, today my title is Artificial Intelligence versus Human Emotions, as mentioned by the moderator just now. Okay, so for the audience, can you hear me? If you can hear me, just type a yes on the chat box so that I can know you are responding. Thank you. So if you can hear me, just simply type a yes. Okay, thank you for the response. Okay, so before we start, so this is me. I know I look young and I know I look like a student. Actually, I'm a senior lecturer in my institution. Okay, actually, I'm already 35. Okay, for my age. So I am from Tunku Abdul Rahman University College, and my expertise is image processing, computer vision, and machine learning, as well as artificial intelligence. So as mentioned by the moderator just now, I am promoted as a senior member in the IEEE, and I'm also involved in the IET and the Asian Pacific Neural Network Society. Before we start, let me ask you some silly question. Okay, so later I will show you some pictures. So if you have any idea what is it, just type your answer in the chat box. Okay. So before we start, let's see some pictures. Okay. What is this? Can anyone tell me? Anyone? A mop? Okay. Any other answer? Anyone don't think this is a mop? Or you have any other special answer? No, right? A dry mop. Okay, this is a creative answer. First time I heard this, dry mop. Yeah, it looks like a dry mop. Any other answer? Floor cleaner. Okay. Basically, all are the same thing. We can see that this is a mop, a dry mop, a used mop. Okay, it seems dirty. I know that. Okay. Okay, so I believe we have a mutual agreement. Everyone know that this is a mop, no doubt. What about this? What is this? Anyone know? A mop also? It's okay. Just type your answer in the chat box so that I can know that. Yep, another mop. Okay, for my broken mop. Okay, this is the first time I heard this. Okay, last lecture, somebody told me that this is a banana. Some students. I'm not sure what is wrong with their eye, so they better get the doctor to check for the eyes. Okay, obviously, this is the mop. Different type of the mop. Okay, no doubt. So we know that this is a mop. This is also a mop. Everyone knows that. Common sense. Okay, more challenging one. What is this 3 item? We start from the top left. What is this? Yes, a bowl. Mostly a bowl. Okay. Any other answer more than a bowl? Okay, it looks like everyone is a circle. Okay, it's a circle, no doubt. White bowl, yes. What about this? The top right corner. Okay, somebody already give me all the answers. Okay, top right, what is this? Plastic bowl? Mangkok. Yeah, right. In the bahasa Indonesia, there's a mangkok, no doubt. Okay, this is I would say that this is a plastic box, just that is in the circle shape. CD case, I believe no one is using CD case right now. Everyone is using the USB. We seldom see a CD right now. Okay, what about the item here? What is the item in the below one? Tape, no doubt. Okay, all of you seem smart. Duct tape, double tape. Okay, it looks like a tape. So what are the similarity between these 3 items? Anyone can tell me? Their color are white. Circle shape, yes. We can see that the most common thing is all are in the circle shape, and white color. But we got a Tracy Angeli say this is important. Okay, I'm not sure how important is this. Maybe it's important in our daily life. Yeah, for sure. Okay, 3 of these items has the circle shape and the color almost the same. But as our human being, we can know that we can differentiate. Even though this is in the circle shape and in the white color, we can differentiate that this is a bowl, this is a plastic box with a circle shape, this is a tape, no doubt, based on our experience. Okay, so you might be wondering, why am I asking this kind of silly question? Why am I showing you the mop and the bowl rather than the AI? Where is the AI part? So be patient, I will explain. So this is a rice bowl, no doubt. Plastic box in a circle shape, as I mentioned just now. Okay, this is a tape. What is vision and intelligence? Whatever I show you just now is related to our vision and intelligence. So when we were born in this world, we use our eye to look through the world. Okay, whatever we see in the world, we need to use our brain to analyze what is this. Just for example, just now when I show you a picture of the mop, You see that, then you think, then this is a mob. You know that. Maybe there are too fast response because based on your experience, you already know that there is a mob. But you still need to go through your brain to process it. So vision, our eye is vision. Our brain is intelligence. Okay, we use our eye to see the world. Then we use our brain, which is intelligent, to think what is it. But in our experience, we know that all these things, we see through everything in our daily life. We can easily get anything in our kitchen or in any other place. Okay, maybe in your toilet, in your kitchen, you always see all these things. When you are born in this world, you know all these items. So when you see this, you look through your vision, then you use your brain to think. Vision, intelligence. This is the outside world items. Okay, in the process of thinking, we need to learn what is this. Okay, when you are young, your parents may teach you, okay, this is a mop, it looks like this. This is a mop, this function is used for the cleaning the floors, for example. Okay, you learn it, then you use your brain to accept your experience. But nowadays, we can easily get these two items in our daily life. We know that this is a camera. I believe everyone knows. We also know that this is either the smartphone or a tablet. Okay, anyone doesn't own a smartphone. I believe everyone must have a smartphone nowadays. Okay, with a smartphone, you can easily take a picture, then just simply upload to the social media. This is all what we did just now. Even before we eating, we use our smartphone to take for the picture first before we eat. Okay, your phone eat first before you. This is the common sense right now. But we can easily obtain all the images nowadays. Imagine there are billions of the picture uploaded in the let's say the social media. But how can we fully utilize it? Can we use all the images in our daily life? Can we use them to help us in our life? And how does it related to our vision and our brain? This is what am I going to take about. So for a human being, okay, we see the world through our eye, then we use our brain to think. But what about computer? There's one thing, we call it as a computer vision. But what is it? So for example, if you want your computer to analyze an image, first thing, you need to, for the machine, you need to use the camera or smartphone to take all the pictures. Then you send to the computer for the analysis. Okay, this is the place where the AI comes from. Okay, compared to the human being, we use our eye to see the world, we use our brain to think. Then for the machine, they use camera, maybe a smartphone camera, maybe a DSLR camera, maybe a CCTV camera everywhere, maybe a webcam. Okay, he used all these cameras to take the pictures, then send to the computer for the analysis. This topic, we call it as a computer vision. Okay, so what is artificial intelligence? Just now, okay, there's a question. Okay, but sir, we know that we couldn't take every moment and send it to the computer. It depends on what are the applications you use. For example, you can use it in the CCTV camera, and there are some program written inside, so you can analyze the picture instantly. Okay, this is the topic behind. Later I will explain what is it. Okay, thank you for the question. So when you're talking about the artificial intelligence, what is it? So when you talk about the artificial intelligence, we know that robot. Okay, we watch a lot of the Hollywood movie. Okay, when we talk about the artificial intelligence, we would think what is a robot? Okay, maybe there's a robot, for example, like a fictional movie. There are some robot who is good to help us, but there are also some bad robot who is trying to come back to kill us. If we watch a lot of the Hollywood movie, okay, we always think that okay, we are slaving the robot. Then in the future, the robot is coming to kill us because we use them too much. That is what we think of. But is that true? Is the artificial intelligence going to link to the good robot or the bad robot? So let's see what is the artificial intelligence. So what is artificial intelligence? For the artificial, we know that artificial, the definition is human-made or the human simulation. Then for the intelligence, it is our human intelligence. The intelligence for the ability to learn the new knowledge and the skills. By combining these two items, basically, what does it mean? Artificial intelligence is the knowledge or the field of the machine able to perform the task by simulating the human intelligence. You may not understand what is all the technical term about, but in short, let me show you a picture. Oh, something. In the layman terms, we are going to put the brain inside the computer. Let the computer to help us to think. Okay, the computer doesn't mean that it is our PC or our laptop or our desktop. Even a hardware with the processor, for example, the Raspberry Pi, is also considered as a computer. Okay, we also can use it to process the image and help us to analyze the image. So back to the question that somebody asked us now. He said that we know that we couldn't take every single moment and send it to the computer. But is it true? Maybe we can. So for example, if we created something, we created a program using our computer, then the program we put inside one of the system in the CCTV camera. So when you taken the picture in the CCTV camera, it will send to the processor inside the camera or maybe another hardware module to help us to analyze the picture. So that it is possible to take the every single moment. It's possible to rethink. Okay, back to our topic just now. By integrating the computer vision and the AI, we can teach the computer to see the world. But how are they going to see the world? So let us make a comparison between the human being and the computer. So, but how the human or the computer learn? So the left-hand side is the human being side. The right-hand side is the computer side. So let's see how we learn in our daily life. For example, you are human. Then when you are born in the world, you see a lot of the dogs and cats. At first, your parents may teach you how to differentiate between dogs and cats. It's possible. Then on the other way around, you learn how to differentiate by yourself. Maybe you can categorize it. Maybe the dog has a bigger size. Maybe the dog has a longer mouth. The cat has a shorter mouth. Maybe the cat is more furry compared to the dog. So you can see there are two ways. One is your parent teach you. One is you learn how to differentiate by yourself. Then end up the result, you learn it. You know how to differentiate cats and dogs. But what about a computer? So let's see the comparison of the computer between the human being. So for the computer, you give in a lot of the images of the cats and dogs with the label. Okay. Then in the first part, you tell your computer all the mathematical equation to differentiate. So for example, you need to tell the computer how does the shape looks like if there's a cat or there's a dog. Maybe there's a rectangular shape on the cat body, maybe. Or you learn how to differentiate using the DL, deep learning. Okay, eventually the computer will learn. So we compare side by side. As a human being, your parents or teacher may teach you how to differentiate. Then in the computer, you are the parents of the computer. Then you need to teach it all the mathematical equations to differentiate every single feature, every single important information for him to recognize a cat or a dog. Or the other way around, you just teach him, you just give him a bunch of the image with telling that this is a dog, this is a cat. Then he'll to learn himself. Okay, so eventually he will learn how to differentiate itself using the deep learning. So compared to this, you learn it by differentiate yourself. Computer also, he learn it by differentiate yourself. So you can see that there are some similarity between the human and the computer. Okay, when we talk about the computer learning, this is the traditional way. We call it as a conventional way in the machine learning. And the right-hand side is the latest trend, which is the deep learning. Right now, the whole world is talking about the deep learning or DL. Okay, this is where it comes from. And let us see how the conventional way learn about all the feature, all the important information to understand something. Okay, let's see the next slide. Okay, so conventional way in the machine learning. Okay, we take a picture, we enhance the picture, maybe the picture is too dark, we make it brighter, then we select the important information. Okay, then we put it into the computer, and we call it as a training process and the analysis, which is the classification. The training process is you train him. Okay, by using this equation, you know that this is a shape for a dog. Then the computer will learn it how to analyze the picture. Then eventually it will give you the output. So from this part to this part is the stage for you to teach your computer how to think. In order we say teaching, we call it as a training process. You train the computer to think. Okay? But how to do this? So for example, let's get back to our first picture. This is the map. So where is the obvious feature of the map? The shape. Maybe it's a triangular shape. Maybe. Then you can see all the fabric here. Then you extract all the texture. You know that there are a lot of the line or the edge over here. Okay. Then maybe the color is a white color. Then you also got a stick. The stick is in a rectangular form. Okay. By taking all this information, white color, triangular, and line, texture, a stick in the rectangular shape, we send this to the computer. In this process, we call it as a feature extraction. We extract the information. The information, the more technical term, we call it as a feature. This is a feature extraction. Then we send to the computer for the classification, which is the learning process. To be more specific, we call it as a training or a testing process. And this is also under the machine learning. So eventually from his learning, he will learn how does the mob look like. Okay, he got the triangular shape, or the line, then the rectangular stick and the white color, maybe. But if you tell him another mob, for example, okay, what about this mob? Right now I zoom the picture. Can you see what is this? Maybe in a human being, he doesn't know what is it. Some of you may be saying that, okay, this is just like a noodle. Some of the students told me that, sir, this is a spaghetti. Somebody did it before. Okay, compared to the just now, it doesn't have a triangular shape. You can see all the texture or the line on it, right? You can see all the line over here. What about this mob? Okay, right now this doesn't look like a mob anymore. It looks like a noodle or some junk food, maybe. And it's no longer in the line shape. It's in the long rectangular shape. So if you want to teach your computer to learn how does the mob look like, you need to extract something like this. You need to take all the important feature in the rectangular shape. Compared to the original mob just now, we got a triangle shape, we got a white color. But right now this one is a yellow color, no longer in the white color. Then when you send this to a computer, your computer may confuse. Originally, you tell me that the mob has a triangular shape, got a stick. But in this picture, I didn't see a shape. I didn't see a stick. I didn't see there's a triangular shape. He will tell you what is this. So this will confuse the computer. And the more challenging one, okay, all these are mob, but the shape are totally different. You can see that this one got a stick, white color, but this thing doesn't have a stick. This thing is in a yellow color. This thing, it looks like a noodle rather than a mob. So when you are sending all this picture to the computer, he will tell you, hey, stop bullying me. I don't understand what is this. Okay? But the more challenging one, for example, this picture, three circle shape. So the important thing that you get, for example, just now when I asked you a question, all these are in the circular shape, circular shape. All these are in the white color. Your computer may tell you, hey, what are the differences between all these circles? I couldn't recognize it. Okay, so this is the conventional way of the machine learning. You need to extract the feature, for example, the circle or the white color. But if you have an item with a similar feature, the computer may confuse. Okay, So all these features in the conventional way, we call it as the low-level features. Okay, we extract the shape, color, or point, or the edge, or line, texture, wavelet, or whatsoever. Then we extract using the different algorithm. For example, if you have maybe 100 pictures of a different mob, then you need to define 100 different algorithms to extract all the features to him to recognize the mob. And this is a very troublesome way, I believe that. So right now, people tend to use the deep learning. It's also called as a convolutional neural network. You might be wondering, what's the difference between this and that? Okay, so let's see what's the difference. Okay, so why is it so impressive? So for the deep learning, so basically you need to feed him a lot of the pictures, a mob for pictures. Maybe you give him maybe 10,000 pictures. Then you tell him all these are mobs. Then you just send to the computer. The computer, it will learn the feature automatically by himself. Okay, you by giving him all the pictures and all the labels. Pictures and the labels are very important. Okay, without the label, he couldn't identify it. So you need to tell him a bunch of the pictures, maybe 10,000 pictures, 20,000, maybe 100,000 pictures. Then you need to label all these are mob. So he will learn it all automatically so that he can learn himself. So this is the current trend of the deep learning. Okay, so by using the deep learning, he can recognize every single thing if you can provide the sufficient information for the computer. For example, mob, balls, tape box, easy peasy for a computer only. As long as you have a very good computer, good performance, then the good data. So speaking of the good data, all you need is a lot of the image with the labels. And I think we have a mutual agreement that data is the most important in the world right now. Okay, as long as you got sufficient data, you can do so many things. Okay, so before I proceed, maybe let me demonstrate one of the object detection program. Okay, this code is given by the Miss Alina. Okay, thank you for providing her code as a demonstration. If you're interested to get the code, you can scan for her repository. So let me show you a video. Okay, so this is a video for the object detection. So you can see that when I'm moving, it can detect me as a person. Then on the down here, it can detect a chair over here, 99% accuracy. Okay, so when I come back out of the frame and come back, it still can detect me as a picture. Okay, right now I'm holding a bottle. It shows a bottle, but somehow it mistake me as a bottle. Right now I show him a different bottle. Okay, he still can somehow recognize it. Okay. Okay, then I'm showing you the next one, the bigger bottle. It also can see that this is a bottle. Okay, so even if I move down, then move up, it still can detect me as a person. But he likes the chair so much, he keep on detecting a chair. Why you see there are a lot of the box? Because you see that there are a lot of the background object. So he may mistakenly some of the object over here. Okay. So this is the one of the demonstration for the object detection. If you are interested, you can scan for the QR code and get the code to pay around. So speaking of this, how can we apply all the computer vision and the AI in our daily application? So for example, healthcare. Okay, how can we use in the healthcare? What about the biomedical imaging? For example, can we use as a disease recognition? Some of my colleagues, he is doing the lung cancer detection using the computer vision and the AI. So basically, they need to get a lot of the X-ray image with the lung tumor, then detect the tumor inside the lung. Okay. Agriculture. Right now, the whole world is talking about the Industrial 4.0. But what about agriculture? Can you use it in the Agriculture 4.0? Yes, possible. Can you use it for the plant disease recognition? Or can you use it for plant harvesting? Possible. You need to detect whether the plant is mature enough for you to harvest. Possible. Banking. What about banking? Biometric identification. Even the fingerprint or the facial recognition, all this, maybe the iris recognition, all these are the biometric identification. Even maybe your phone already has some maybe thumbprint recognition, or even the facial recognition. Some of the smartphones are already available. Industry, can you use it as a defect detection? For example, a company is producing PCB board. Can you use it to detect the defect on the PCB board? Possible, using the machine vision. The machine vision is the integration between the computer vision and AI. Okay. Or even the social security. What about the CCTV camera? Are you able to use it to recognize the action? Possible for the security. Or can you use it for the scene understanding? For example, you put the CCTV in the airport to detect whether there's any suspicious behavior inside the airport. Possible. The last one, maybe the retail. You can just use it for the face recognition. Some of the countries are already implementing the facial recognition to do the pavement. Or some of the retail shop, maybe they use to do the product recognition. Or maybe it can help to detect which region has the most customers. For example, customer like to go to the food department so that he can increase the sales in the product in the food department. Possible. So that you can see right now, the computer vision is everywhere right now. We can see all the application nowadays in our daily life, even in our life, or even a smart home concept possible. Okay, AI can make our life easier now, but does it have an emotion? How many of you think that AI has an emotion? If you think there's an emotion in the AI, just type a yes in the chat box. If you don't think so, type a no, so that I can know your response. Okay, some of you say no, no, no. Okay, any yes? Some of you say nah. Yes, it may be. No. I see the majority say no. Not yet. Okay, this is a very good answer. Some of you say not yet. Maybe, maybe. Okay, thank you for a good response. So let's see. I will say the current state, but I won't predict the future. Okay, future got emotion or not, and I cannot say. But right now, no emotion. AI doesn't have any emotion. It doesn't have any emotion, but it can pretend to have the emotion. But what does it say that? It can pretend how it feels, but it cannot actually feel. For example, if you give him a situation, there's a negative situation. If he detects all the negative information inside there, then he can show that, okay, under this criteria, I should have a negative response. So that it pretend I have a negative emotion. But inside there, there's no soul. Okay? No soul, no emotion. Behind there, just a bunch of the mathematical equations only. This is for the current stage. And this is the mutual agreement by all the scientists. Okay? Future, whether or not, I cannot tell. Okay? Because I couldn't predict the future. But for now, for the current stage, no emotions. Okay? If yes, he just pretend the emotions only. No emotion inside. But what about next? There's no emotion in the AI. All the emotion is inside us. I believe if we are human being, we know that we can feel, okay, because we have a soul inside. We can feel happy or we can feel sad. But even AI doesn't have an emotion, it can help us to understand our emotions. How does it say so? Okay, we got 6 basic emotions. Okay, this is me. I know I look slightly younger here. Okay, this is a happy face, common. Okay, common mutual agreement is happy face. This is a sad face. Okay, I believe you all also think so. This is the angry face. What about this? Can anyone tell me what is this emotion about? Anyone? Anyone? Disgust? Okay. Confused? 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 Okay. Bored? Not bored. Disappointed? Poker face? Another poker face. Okay. This is, I would say that this is a disgust face. Okay. You can see by the mouth. Okay. The lip is tightened. Okay. There's one significance for the disgust. Okay. The mouth is tightened. It's kind of similar to the sad. The sadness is also tightened. Just that you can see that the lip is bending downward, but this is slightly bending outward. Okay. Then the eyebrow, between the eyebrow also to tighten. So basically, this is a disgust face. Okay. What about this? What face is this? Can anyone tell me? Shock. Yeah, it's a shock. Shock or surprise. Same. Not yawn. Definitely not yawn. Okay. This is a shock face. Shock or surprise. So the last one, we have a neutral face without any emotion. Okay. This emotion is commonly agreed by the scientists or the psychologists. Okay. So by identifying the emotion, normally for a human being, how does we understand the emotion? So basically, at first, we look at the eyebrow. All the emotion are cute though. Thank you, thank you. Okay, at first, we look at the eyebrow. Then, we look at our eye. Okay, if we are happy or we are surprised, the eye will be open. Okay, and the eyebrow will be also shown up, move up. Then, we also look at our mouth, whether the mouth is open or not, whether the lip is tightened up or not. Then we also need to see the wrinkle between the nose. Okay, all this information are going to use for understanding the emotion for the human being. Okay, we can easily understand the emotion by looking at all these features. This is for the human. Then, but what about the computer? For the computer, we also need to extract the low-level feature. How to extract the low-level feature? Basically, we use the different features with the many mathematical operation, or maybe the high-level method, which is the deep learning. So for example, also the same conventional way, we take a picture, we extract the face, select the important information from the face, then training and classification, and then the output. So for the emotion, basically, we also need to extract all the face feature from the picture, from the region that I showed just now, by using all the mathematical operation. Okay, that's why how we learn the emotion. But for a deep learning, also the same, we need to give in a lot of the pictures of the happy face, sad face, or disgust face, surprise face, all these things with a label. We pass all this information to the deep learning. Then deep learning will be extracting all the features automatically. Then he will give us the result. Okay. So by using the deep learning, we don't need to use all the mathematical equations. We can save our hand. Okay, maybe I show you another video for the demonstration for the emotion detection. And this code is provided by Mr. Omar Ayman. He is from the Egypt actually. So I would like to thank him for sharing the code. So if you want to know about the code, you can scan for the QR code. So here's a video. So I can pretend to be happy. It can detect as a happy face, neutral face, angry face a bit. Okay. Surprise maybe not that significant. Happy or neutral, angry. Okay, he mistakenly confused about the angry and the sad face sometimes. Even if I move here and there, it still can detect my face emotion. Okay, it's a little bit hard to detect the angry face. Maybe I'm not good at showing the angry face. Okay, you see, I keep on moving. It still can detect. It still can follow me to detect all the angry or the whatsoever face here. Okay, sorry for the ugly face at the last. Okay, so, but wait. We can know that we can detect all the emotion. But what if someone is faking the emotion? You can see the video just now. Okay, I can pretend to be happy. As long as I smile, then the program will treat me as a happy face. But what happens if someone faking the emotion? So let me ask you a question. Oh, what is the common thing between these two pictures? Can you tell me? Okay, what's the emotion between of the left-hand side picture? What is the emotion? What do you think? By looking at the picture. Yep, happy, no doubt. What about the right-hand side? Right-hand side, neutral. Neutral, neutral. Many people say neutral or boring, neutral. Regret, no regret, definitely no regret. Okay, somebody give a good answer. Both of them are actually happy face. Yes, happy face. This is also the happy face, even though he looked at a neutral face. Somebody saying that I just hide it, but how does he hide it on the right? Definitely no depression. I have no depression, don't get me wrong, okay? This is happy and this is happy. But how can I consider this picture has a happy face? So let's see. This thing, we call it as a microexpression. What is a microexpression? Okay, microexpression basically is the emotion. It's the true emotion of the human being. It's a real emotion in our heart. So basically, it happened involuntarily when people are trying to hide the real emotion. Okay, so basically, it's a very, very subtle, very, very insignificant. You cannot just simply see it using your naked eye. Okay, because it happened very, very fast. It happened between 1/15 seconds and 1/25 frames per second. Okay, this thing happened very fast until our naked eye maybe cannot see it clearly. Okay, I show you a picture to see what's the micro expression. Okay, try to observe the picture, observe the video. Okay, tell me what do you see? Can anyone tell me what do you see? Anyone? Or I need to show the picture again. Okay, I show the video again. Okay, look at the lip. You can see there's a very, very fast movement on the lip. Actually, that's not a big fixed smile. Actually, this is a happy face. You can see that there's a smile over here just now. Actually, this is a happy face. Okay, just that I'm trying to control my emotion, but basically the thing cannot be controlled. You can see that it happened very fast. Maybe I'll show you another video that you can't even see any emotion inside. Okay, let's observe what does you see in the video. This one is a little bit challenging. Okay, can anyone see anything from the video? Okay, I try to replay again. Can anyone see anything? Anyone? Smile. Somebody say there's a smile. Let me replay the video again. Observe of the lip over here. Okay. If your eye is sharp enough, there's a movement in the lip. A little move. Yes, somebody say that. There's a little movement on the lip. So basically, this is also a happy emotion inside here. Okay. Okay, I can replay again. Maybe there's a too small until you cannot see. But when you do some processing, you can see it more clearly. Observe the lip over here. You can see that there's a slightly movement here just now. Okay. So this is a happy face. Just now, the one also happy face. By the way, it's not significant. This is a micro emotion. So that this micro emotion, it can reveal a true emotion, but actually it's not significant. Okay, it can't even detect it using our naked eye. Just for example, just now I showed you several times. Some of you may not be able to see it because the movement is too subtle, too not significant. But it can be used to reveal our true emotion. Okay, this is a micro emotion. So for information, I record these two videos when I'm watching the American sitcom. Okay, it's a funny sitcom. So these two are actually the happy face, but this is truly not significant, and this is the micro emotion. So basically, these 6 basic emotions are also available in the micro expression, but it's much more subtle. Compared to the big smile, you can see the video now there's a very small smile on it. Compared to the surprise face, you can see the eyebrow is keep on moving upward. But for the micro emotion, maybe it's a very, very small, very, very tiny movement on there only. Maybe the tightened area between the eyebrow is a very, very small area only for the subtle emotion. So this is a micro expression. It's not significant, but it's very useful to reveal our true emotion. So macro emotion, it happens slowly. So people can pretend. You and I can pretend. Maybe a person is a very sad person, but I pretend to be happy. Some of you say this now. And it cannot reveal actual emotion, and it can be easily detected. But for the micro emotion, it happens very fast. People cannot pretend. and it can reveal your actual emotion, and it cannot be easily detected. So this is the difference between the micro and the macro emotion. So the problem, what is the difference between these two pictures? Actually, from the left-hand side, this is the neutral face without any emotion. But for the right-hand side, there's the frame with the movement of the mouth just now. This thing I screenshot from the video that I showed just now. You can see that by comparing the neutral face and the happy face, there are not much difference between these two pictures. And then for the human operator, some of the human has been trained to identify the microexpression, but for their accuracy is only 47% only. Okay, so people are tending to using the computer to help them to figure out the microexpression. Okay, that's why my research comes from. So for my pipeline, my research is using the computer vision and the AI to detect the microexpression. So at first, I extract the face as long as it's in the video. Then I detect which frame it contains the emotion. Then I put it to recognize the emotion. Then I will give you the result. The mathematical behind is a very long story. I will share to you if we have another chance next time. So in the 201 way, we propose a method. We call it as a standard symmetric local map pattern. But for here, I will skip all the mathematical equations so that I won't confuse all the audiences here. Okay. So by using this, I can get the 80% accuracy under the control environment. How does I do that? At first, I get the neutral face frame. Then I use the happy face frame. I get the differences by subtracting each others. And then I try to use the CSLNP, my method, to use the mathematical equation to get all the information. Then I put it for the computer to use the conventional method to get the accuracy of the 80%. But this one is in the control environment, which means that the person has to be properly sit inside the lab with the even light lane or the light lane cukup, no problem. Then use a high-speed camera to capture all the face. Okay, this is how I get it. Okay, but of course, there are still a lot of the solutions in the microexpression. For example, the low-level feature. The one that I just now introduced is the low-level feature. We got an LBP, optical flow, or HOG, or etc. Or maybe the mid-level features. People tend to combining several low-level features to become a mid-level. Or people also use the deep learning neural network to detect the microexpression. But as I said just now, this research is still very new. The accuracy is about 80% under control environment only. And what about the limitation of this research for the MD recognition? Low accuracy, I mentioned just now. People maximum can get 80% accuracy. Data not enough. You can see that the video just now is even very hard for a human being to detect a little smile in the video. So how are the people going to collect all the data? Of course, there are some available data online already, but the data is still imbalance, which means that there are many happy faces, but quite a few sad faces only. Data is not enough. Or maybe you need a high-speed camera. Without a high-speed camera, how are you going to capture the microexpression? And it also cannot be used in the natural world. So for example, if you have this thing come out, but if you put in maybe a dark place, it maybe cannot detect the microexpression. Okay, maybe you put in a high ground, it cannot detect the human emotion in the low ground. Possible. And it cannot be implemented in the real time right now. Okay, the one that I show you, I need to record a video, then I only need to put inside my computer for the training and process. It cannot detect directly using the real-time processing. But if this thing is successful, where can it be implemented? Psychology and counseling. Can we help the psychologist and the counselor to understand what is the true emotion of the patient? For example, a patient, maybe he is hiding the emotion. Maybe a patient with depression, he doesn't want the people to know that he's in the depression right now. So he pretends to be happy. But can we use the MD recognition to help the psychologist to understand the emotion? This is possible. What about the police investigation? Can this thing help the police to investigate the criminal thinking? Possible. People say that this MD recognition is a soft lie detector. It can be used to become a lie detector. Possible. maybe the customer service. Can you put this application on the customer counter? So you can simply know that whether the customer is happy with your service. Is possible. So you can see that if this thing is successful, all these things can be implemented in our daily life, whether in the psychology, customer service, or police investigation, or maybe even the custom. But what about the privacy? If you are putting the camera in front of your customer counter, are you going to intrude the privacy of the customers? Maybe the customers doesn't want you to know the history emotion, but you accidentally detect it. This may cause the privacy issue. Okay. So as a conclusion, artificial intelligence is the latest trend. I would say there's no objection, right? But it's still very hard for it to understand our true emotions. And the micro-expression recognition is still a very long way to go. So if you are interested, you can join the research. So basically, I would like to conclude my presentation today. So this is the end. Thank you for your listening.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Meng, for your interesting and informative talks. And I think this is a very interesting presentation, how we can teach a computer to recognize and understand human emotional states, especially for micro emotion. Yes. And to be honest, for us as a human, particularly for me, sometimes cannot really understand about someone else's emotional state. And now computer is one step ahead. Yes. And I think this field is progressing super fast with an emerging trend in AI and also more advanced technology. And maybe I expect the technologies that surround us maybe in 5 years, in the next 5 years, or maybe in the 10 years next, maybe the technology is becoming more emotion aware or context aware. And of course, I think this is not impossible to teach the computer about empathy or maybe compassion, or maybe to make the computer is to more wise, so that they can detect how we are feeling, or maybe it can respond accordingly to our emotion. I think that's our song for me. Yes. I think we are now for Q&A session. We are moving to Q&A session. And for all the participants joining here, you can submit your question on the Q&A box. And then Dr. Go will directly answer or respond to your question.
Okay,
here.
Can I see the question?
Okay.
Okay, maybe I answer one by one. Does 3D camera help in improving to know the micro expression? So the very basic idea for the micro expression recognition is to you need to have a high-speed film camera to get all the features, because as you've seen that all the micro expression move very fast. As long as your camera is used to able to capture the features, I don't think it's hard for the 3D camera to improve in the human micro emotion. It's possible, okay? But future-wise, I don't know. In the current stage, people are still tend to use the 2D camera to get the micro expression. So maybe in the 3D camera, we can try to have a look to see how can it integrate. Because normally when we are using the 3D camera, we are trying to get a depth image. Okay, we need to know the distance of the object to the camera. But somehow this depth actually is not that important in recognizing the micro expression, because we can know that the distance between our eye and the nose are actually quite similar. Okay, not much useful to recognize the 3D depth. If we want to use more camera, maybe possible thermal camera possible, because for the thermal camera we can know the heat change inside the face. So I hope this one can answer your question. Okay. So maybe I proceed to the next question. If I want to learn about AI, what's the most important I need to prepare and learn that? Because I'm really interested in the topic, and what software that I use for making the program for AI. Okay, for the first question, your mathematics algebra must be good. Okay, make sure that your algebra is good. The second thing is your programming language. Okay, I believe that if you're familiar about the C or C++ program, so there won't be any issue for you to learn the AI. Then the third important thing is the Python. People tend to use the Python to do all the AI. Okay, if you are interested to know about the AI, first thing, your algebra, mathematics, and the statistic must be good. These two things. Then programming language, especially in the Python. These two things is a very important thing. Okay, so I hope I answered your question, Miss Siti Nojana. Okay, so can I sign up to somewhere to join this research? Okay, basically for the current trend right now, people is having their own research and they tend to do it on their own. Okay, because at first, if you want to join the research, you need to collect the data. If you really want to join this research, I suggest you to get the data for yourself to have a look first, to understand how does it about. Okay, there are some available data online which you can download it freely, but you need to get the permission. Some of the researchers, for example, some of them from the China or from the Western country, they already collect a set of the micro emotion data. Okay, you can try to use the research, use the data, then you can try to test some of the algorithm to see whether you can improve the accuracy or not. Okay, sign up wise, I will suggest you to start the research in your own institution. Okay, because the most important thing for this is the data. I would say that. So data collection, as you know, right now all the COVID-19 are getting serious, and it's not easy for you to get data also. So I suggest you to start with the available data online first. Okay. So okay, I answer the next question. Where can I get the data? Bunch of the dogs, cats, or mob image? You don't need to shoot the data on your own. So I would say that there are a lot of the data available right now. Okay, you just go to search data set, online data set. So let me skip the presentation. Maybe I type here. So for you to get the data, the most important thing is the data set. Okay, if you want to know where to get the data set, you just simply go online, then you type maybe the object recognition data set. So you can see a lot of the data available on the Google or whatsoever. Okay. So, okay, I hope this will answer your question. For example, if you want to know more about microexpression dataset, then just search it. You can see a lot of the reference there. They are quite common right now. So for the object recognition, you can see that the data given is maybe about 100,000 pictures given to you with a different object. Okay. So next question. As the AI machine become popular, how do the AI machine affect our interaction and human behavior? Okay, one thing to clarify is, okay, AI machine is to assist us in our daily life, but it's not to replace us. So I give you an example. We design a car. The car is the tools that help us to travel, but we didn't expect the car to replace us in our daily life. Okay, do you get what I mean? Same thing as the AI. Okay, we get the AI because we want them to help us to reduce our daily life burden, but we didn't expect them to fully replace us. Okay, I hope this thing you can understand. For the affect our interaction, so maybe the interaction between the human being maybe become lesser and lesser because you keep on facing your phone or your laptop without talking to your family and your friends. So please make sure that when the time you use your AI, make sure you keep your interaction between your friends and the fellows or the family or whosoever also. Okay, I already answered the first two questions. Okay, do you use a library like OpenCV in the Python to detect an object, or is there any other way? OpenCV is one of the very famous famous toolbox to detect all the object detection. Okay, because before we go into a deep learning, we need to detect the important feature. we use the OpenCV to detect all the important feature. Okay, we need to process the image first before we proceed. Yes, OpenCV is a good choice. Maybe I don't know whether there's any other picture, any other toolbox or not. You can have a search, but I would say that OpenCV is the most common one in the Python. Is ME the beginning of the artificial emotion? No, you think too much. No worry about this. Okay, how computer decide the emotion a person has if the person does not show or have a face? So the emotion, the most direct one is through our face. Okay, the second one is our body language. Okay, right now the scientist is focused on the body language only, focus on the face only, but body language also will reveal our true emotion actually. So in the future, but I believe that the body behavior still haven't been common in recognizing the true emotion. So if you are interested, you can go to have a look on the AI detecting the body language behavior. It may be help in understanding the emotion. Okay, how the computer detect the okay, I answer already. Okay, if the person doesn't show the face based on the body language, as I mentioned just now. Okay. Okay, next question. Do you think the temperature of the human body can help with showing microexpressions? And do you think by using the detecting the brainwave, the flow through the body help with showing the human emotion? Yes, this is definitely. Because EEG signal can be integrated with the human emotion also, if possible. But I still haven't have time to study about this. Okay, thank you for giving me the idea. Maybe I can ask my student to focus on the brainwave detection together with the facial microexpression to improve the emotion. Okay, thank you for the answer. What is the scientific basis of categorizing the human expression into 6 emotions? Aren't the emotions supposed to be more continuous than the discrete categorical? Is there any ethical issue about the application of this emotion recognition algorithm? If yes, are there any ongoing research to deal with this issue? Okay, scientific basic 6 emotion. This 6 basic emotion is developed by a famous scientist. His name is Paul Ekman. And this 6 basic emotion is the universal emotion, I would say, because it is commonly agreed by all the scientists in the psychologists. Okay, aren't the emotions supposed to be continuous and discrete? You are right. So basically, if you want to detect the emotion, a series of a video, okay, will give you the higher accuracy compared to a discrete frame. I won't say that the discrete frame is not good. Discrete frame is also giving you a very good result. But if you have a series of pictures with a video, it will be giving you a better result. Is there any ethical issue? Yes, I would say that in the future, there will be a big ethical issue. For example, just now I will already say that there might be some privacy issue. Okay, so for the developing algorithm, the algorithm is not an issue. How people use it is a big issue. Okay, so for example, you have a knife. You can use it to maybe cut a vegetable, or maybe you can use it to kill somebody. It depends on how you use it. Okay, algorithm, there's no issue for algorithm. The people is the ethical issue. So the ethical issue on algorithm, no, but the ethical issue for how to use it, yes, there might be. And some of the organization is deal with it because they think that they might be intruding your privacy. Okay, are there any ongoing research or not? I don't think this research on the ethical issue is belong to my field and the one who developed the algorithm only. Okay, can face recognition tell if someone is lying or not? Emotion recognition is the one who tell someone is lying or not. Okay, so for example, someone pretend to be sad, but accidentally it reveal the happy face using the microexpression. Okay, emotion recognition is the one instead of the facial recognition. Can AI technology be mass produced and free of charge? It's already in the mass produced. People are already talking about all the 4.0, everything is already in the mass produced. Okay, and free of charge depends on the company. I believe that in the future, if getting widely used, it may be free of charge. Even there are some online platform which can let you to do all the Python scripting is free. Okay. Okay, next question. What happens if human using AI as a machine war? Can we avoid this situation? Thank you. Okay, some of us may think that, okay, people are using the robot to fight with each other. So, okay, scientists, they may have a stop button if there's something happen as a machine war. But what happens if human using the AI as a machine war? It's possible. But this is the future. I can't say whether people will misuse it or not. Can we avoid this situation? The scientist will doing something. For example, he will put a stop button in the AI. If the AI detecting there's a human being, he cannot do anything. Okay, in the AI, there are 3 rules. One of the rules, famous rule, is it cannot harm human being. Okay. Can we make cat girl look like what anime I watched using AI and give her micro expression to make expression? As I said, micro expression is very hard to make. It happen involuntarily. Okay. Can we make cat girl that look like what anime I watched using AI? So there are one technology we call it as a GAN, generative adversarial network. It used to recreate the pictures. So for example, the picture is blurred. You use this AI technology to recover the picture. It's possible. Okay, but giving the micro expression still hard to say. I won't say that. Okay, can micro expression technology use for a lie detector? Possible if the technology is mature enough. Can AI recognize human who pretend the emotional like fixed smile, fake happy, although the expression is exactly the same as the usual one? It's possible. I would say it's possible, but there's not many people doing this. If you are interested, you can focus on this technology. Maybe you can get a PhD over there. Okay, I congratulate you first. Why are micro expression become important? Because I say that it can help you to reveal your true emotion. Okay, by understanding a human emotion, it depends on where you use. But for the maybe area of the psychologist is very important for the psychologist because it can help him to understand the patients. Okay, I still little bit confused about how the computer detect someone's emotion. I mean, maybe for sad and happy face, computer can detect by micro emotion, but how about angry face? Okay, some people get angry but in a neutral face or happy face. Can we say that the kind of AI ain't 100% valid? Okay, as I mentioned, people can pretend to be a neutral face, even that he's angry, but there are still some hint that showing that he doesn't happy. Maybe he's angry. The thing we call it as a micro expression. Okay. So there are still some hints will be revealed to show that there are true emotion. Okay, but I can say that it's still not 100%. So as I showed just now, there is just an 80% accuracy only. Okay, so how you detect? As I mentioned, you can detect the feature, but maybe for a sad face or happy face can be detected by micro expression. As I said just now, it may be having some hint like on the face. Okay, you just need to get the hint to do the analysis. Okay, if the AI can detect object and face expression, can we use the AI to detect human gesture? Yes, it's possible. My student is doing the behavior analysis. He is detecting the human gesture to see what's the action. Okay, he also published a journal to detect whether there is any violence action shown in the video. Okay, I want to ask what is the flaw of using a deep learning instead of conventional ways in the project, which is better? It depends on the data set. Okay, if you have more data, for example, if you have 10 billion of the pictures, it is better for you to do the deep learning way. But if you have a data very small data, for example, you just have a 200 pictures, it would be good for you to use the conventional way to do the machine learning. Okay, it depends on the data. I won't say that the conventional way is totally not good. Conventional way has their own benefit if the data is small. Okay. Also, the deep learning, you need a very good computer for you to train. Okay. You need to have a very good computer with a maybe 16 gigabyte RAM, maybe with a GPU with a very good graphic card. This is the most important thing for the AI. If you don't have this, then just focus on the conventional way. Animal language, even human being also don't know about human language. Okay. Not even AI. Human also cannot know. Okay. Is it possible for us to create the artificial emotions or the artificial consciousness? Artificial consciousness so far, no. Behind the artificial consciousness, all other mathematical operation only. Okay, don't worry about it. Next question. What is someone like using the micro expression? microexpression cannot be live. This is the statement. It cannot pretend the microexpression. Okay. Okay, can AI reveal the real age of other creature? So far, the real age of the creature is based on the human being. Okay. But people is tending to recognize the face of the animal. But real age, I'm not sure yet. I cannot answer this. But the age is a human being, yes. For the other creature, not sure. I don't think so, to be frank. Can the program select a feature of the object independently? Actually, I don't understand what is the question about. Maybe you can elaborate further. I skip the question first. What happens if someone has setting their life protection with an AI recognition, but unfortunately they get an accident that make their face couldn't recognized by the AI machine? So if you set the AI to recognize your face, if your face is gone, it no longer can detect you. But you can maybe use the other feature, for example, the thumbprint, or maybe some of them they are developing the tongue recognition. In the Hong Kong University, they recognizing the tongue, this tongue, possible, thumbprint, or maybe the earprint, or maybe the blood vein inside your hand is possible. Okay. Can AI be used to predict what will be happening in the future? People use the AI to predict the stock price. Okay, based on the different factors. But what will happen in future, it depends. So far, the AI is still limited. AI is not a fortune teller. Okay, don't worry about this. Okay. How effective and consistent is the microexpression AI? As I told you just now, the AI is just basically in the microexpression is 80%. Okay. Because eventually the world somehow going to use microexpression is every type of setting. What if it got errors and it showed the unwanted behavior of the AI? The AI is used to detect the emotion, but it's just the advice, okay? Advice for the human being. Maybe I give you an example. You use the lung pictures to detect whether cancer or not, but you cannot totally use the detection for the AI to help the doctor to do the diagnosis. Eventually, you still need to get back to the doctor to understand what are the disease. Doctor still need to do the diagnosis. Back to the microexpression just now, also the same. Okay, human being or psychologists are the one who truly understand, and the microexpression is the one who help him to further improve the analysis only. Okay, so how could I understand the calculus easily? Could you please give me some advice? Good question. Go get some online lecture or get some tuitions, I would say that. Or maybe you try to understand better through your lecturers. I believe there are some good lecturers in the Universitas Airlangga. Okay, calculus is very important if you want to understand the AI. Okay, so how effective and consistent in microexpression? Okay, I answered just now. What if there's an error? As I said just now, you still need the human to help you to analyze it. So the analysis from the AI to help you further on your analysis only. It won't replace you. Okay, the last question. Okay, a few more questions. What are the implementations for the project in the future? Like maybe your main goal in the future. So as I showed you just now, I already showed you some of the application. Okay, my main goal is to help the psychologists and the counseling to understand the patient of depression, actually. But this is still a very long journey to go. Okay, before I do the project, I also consult some of the psychologists because they will say that this thing is a very important, okay, for their diagnosis. What do you think about the Rocco? Okay, does God exist? I cannot answer you. Okay, this thing is back to the religion. I'm not here to promote about the religion, sorry. I'm just talking about AI. I won't say that whether God exists or not. It depends on the religion. It's possible for AI to be self-aware. As I said just now, self-aware, they can make the decision, but it's based on how you teach him, okay? You need to tell him that, okay, based on this criteria, it will give you some kind of the response. Emotion-wise, self-aware, not yet. It's based on the application and the decision that you need him to make. Sometimes human express many emotions at the same time. How AI deal with this? We tend to think that we have an emotion many things at the same time, but basically it happens instantly and it happens step by step. sometimes we may think that, okay, we have a happy face and a sad face, sad emotion at the same time. So when you go deep in your heart, you can see that maybe at the first second you feel happy, and the second you feel sad. Okay, basically, actually there are two emotions, but it happened very fast, makes you think that it happened at the same time. But actually, it happened at a different time, just that it happened very instantly. The AI neural processing chip make the AI think faster. Yes, provided the AI chip is getting faster and faster and technology is getting better and better. AI is the limit. Yes, if there's the data. If there's no data, AI cannot perform well. Okay, so I hope I answered every single question here. Thank you for your time, for listening.
Okay. Thank you so much for Dr. Go for
Okay.
answering all the questions and also for the knowledge sharing. And now we are at the end of the webinar. And before closing, on behalf of Faculty of Advanced Technology and Multidiscipline, Universitas Airlangga, I'd like to express our gratitude to all the participants for joining this webinar, to the organizing team for managing this event, and definitely for Dr. Go as the honorable speaker for today's program. And
Okay.
also, I'd like to remind all the participants to complete all the information needed for generating your certification of appreciation. And I think that's all from me. And thank you for your cooperation. And see you in another occasion. And for Dr. Go, can we have a group photo session?
Yes.
Yes.
Group photo.
So maybe last thing, if you want to know more, you can email me using this email, or in a small capital. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe please, Mr. Prisma, to take the documentation.
Okay, wait. Please smile. Get the cool position. Okay, I'll count. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'll save it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And once again, thank you to Dr. Go.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's all from me, and thank you for your cooperation, and see you in another occasion. And
Okay,
have a
thank
nice
you.
day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Dr. Go,
Yes.
after this program, maybe our staff from AGE, Erlangga Global Engagement, will contact you by email.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.